Rene, you are the representative of one of the case studies of the Bonus BaltCOAST project. What is the key idea of your case study area, the Szczecin Lagoon?
Yeah, our Szczecin Lagoon, or especially the small bay, so the German part of Szczecin Lagoon, we have a very strong eutrophication problem. And we see over the last decades that also the nutrient loads are decreasing, that the water quality and especially water transparency is not increasing as we would expect it. And so we see we have two main problems, and one is the very high phytoplankton densities, so we have long-lasting blooms of phytoplankton, and on the other hand, we have very strong resuspension of the sediments. So nutrients that are once in the sediment are going back to the system, so that the loads or the load reduction we saw in the past years are not affecting anymore the water quality of Szczecin Lagoon. And so we came with the idea or with the need that we have to do something within the water body on its own. And therefore we developed several ideas what can be done. And one option would be to improve the growing conditions of mussels by giving them a suitable substrate so that they can grow stronger. And we are hoping if we have more mussels and they are filtering the water, and by doing so they would decrease strongly the phytoplankton densities and help us to improve the water transparency, which in the next step could improve the growing conditions of macrophytes and gives them a chance to stabilize the sediment and decrease by this the resuspension of sediment.
And what is your personal role in the project?
My first role is that I'm ecosystem modeler, so I'm more a theoretical guy and looking from my desk on what is happening in Szczecin Lagoon. But by the way, I have to collect all the ideas of our colleagues and integrate them to something that we can put at least into our models, since we see the problem that we might not be able to do some measurements actively, but we need models to, for example, understand how a mussel farm could increase the water transparency not only at a certain location where the mussel farm would be built, but in the whole lagoon. And this is something where models could help us strongly. And so my task is not only to model, but also to keep the overview about all the things that our colleagues are doing within our case study, and keep to integrate just the single ideas and the single approaches.
A special method, a special tool in the Bonus BaltCOAST project is the system approach framework. How is it implemented in the case study area?
So our case study area, we have 3 pillars of our research. We are focusing, of course, on ecological impact. So if we would build a mussel farm, how this would interact with the whole ecosystem, especially fishes and birds. We have furthermore the social aspects that have to be included. For example, if we build something or somewhere in the lagoon, how would be the social acceptance of a measure? And we have the third pillar, the economical aspects. So if we build a mussel farm, how are the costs and how are the revenue on the other hand? And the SAF helps us strongly to integrate the single pillars to whole systems approach, how it is called. So we don't see just the small aspects on their own, but we can integrate the single effects from the pillars to one whole system.
And who are the stakeholders?
At the moment, we are strongly working together with, on the one hand, of course, our authorities, which have very strong gain or which have strong pressure, since they have to increase the water transparency, or especially to achieve the good ecological state, or the stated, or how it is claimed by the Water Framework Directive. On the other hand, we have the local municipalities, which have a strong interest that especially tourism is growing in this region, and also that the economic development of the whole region is further boosted. So in the end, they are mainly interested in getting new jobs and more jobs into the region. And the strong third pillar of our stakeholders are especially the fishermen, which are more the which are fearing that increasing, for example, increasing water quality would have a strong impact on the fish ecosystem. So they see the risk that they could reduce their yields, and so that their jobs are maybe unsafe in the future.
You mentioned already the main concerns of the stakeholders, and how can we deal with that?
One important thing is, of course, research, understanding how a measure can interact with the whole ecosystem, and show the stakeholders that they don't have to fear whatever that will be done. And another very big pillar is, of course, communication, and speak with the people, understand what their concerns are, and how to deal with the problems. And this is also something where ZAF is strongly helping us to understand the fears and how to communicate, and even to see if a measure has too strong negative impacts, to change the whole system or the whole approach to counteract this negative effect.
And communication plays a major role. So, which tools do you use to inform your stakeholders?
In the first year of our project, we made a big workshop together with all the stakeholders, where we invited all. We made some presentations on our own to show them what our thinkings are, and also gave them the chance to show or to tell us what their fears are, where they see their problems, and also where they see possible positive effects. So this workshop was a very strong effect, was a very strong tool for us. And it was also not the first workshop we have done in the region. In previous projects we have done comparable workshops before, so we know a little bit what their concerns were. And further, of course, we are doing small discussions with only a smaller part of the stakeholders. So because we saw in the big workshop that some people don't speak too much in this big group, but if you speak with them on just a small group, one-to-one, this can really help us in showing them that the risk is not so big, and also to understand their point.
What will be the main outcome of the case study in the BaltCOAST project?
Hopefully the good ecological state of the small bay of Szczecin Lagoon. But unfortunately, my feeling at the moment is that most of our findings will be more theoretically. So we will know for selected scenarios of possible measures how they could look like, how the ecological impacts would look like, where we could build a mussel farm so that especially the municipalities are not affected too strong, and also how the economic part would be. If we built a mussel farm with a given size and a given place, how would be the costs look like, and how would be the benefits and the monetary benefits, and even we are hoping to have an idea in the end how we can maximize the profits, so that we even can have a cost-benefit analysis, not only with respect to the mussel farm, but also with a greater impact on nutrients, on water quality, how the whole water transparency is interacting with everything.
And is there a kind of symbol that you associate with your case study area?
Yes, of course, and as I spoke about mussel farming, we have in the Szczecin Lagoon the Dreissena polymorpha living there. I hope you can see it. And this would be our main target species for mussel farming. Also, it's quite small. It has a very strong impact on the water transparency, and we are hoping that this could be the right symbol for our research in this area.
Okay, thank you.